Welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So how have you been? Obviously, spent a lot of time inside. That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm actually a nurse, so I
Oh, wow.
don't get to spend too much time at home.
Have you been on the front line then, basically, since the outbreak?
Yeah, so I take care of COVID patients.
Fuck.
You
Shit.
know, honestly, I personally think compared to the other floors in the hospital, it's safer to be on the COVID floor as a nurse because they give you
Honestly.
all the protective equipment you need. When I'm on the other floors that don't have COVID patients, they give you just a surgical mask and that's it, and you wear that one mask throughout the whole day.
What do you have to wear when you're on the COVID floor?
Oh my gosh, it's like going into surgery. These like two people dress you. You put two masks on, two pairs of gloves, like this big like gown thing. You have a hairnet, you have goggles, like a face shield. It's like the whole you we do get our N95 masks, thank God. So
Yes. And what? And so do you? And basically, do you have like to have to shower or something like that when you leave the room, or?
no, so kind of what you do is it's like donning and doffing when you put on and take off all that protective equipment. And pretty much you're only doing like superficial donning and doffing per room because we have to save the N95 masks because we're so low.
Hmm. Do you have to
So
reuse them, or do you? No, you can't reuse them.
you reuse them for the day, but not like for another shift. I wouldn't come back the next day and use the same one.
Right. So what's do you see the numbers in beds, increasing a lot?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people that have it. There's a lot of people sick. There's a lot of people dying. I mean, we have a lot of deaths. And I will say it's like a huge difference. It's not like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if it's real. To me, it's real because usually you don't have so many people die all the time.
Yeah,
There's,
man. Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
I would say they're older people. Like, it's not people like our age that are young and healthy,
They are young and healthy.
but I mean, it is a lot of older people like 70s, 80s,
Yeah. Wow, man, that's sad. Because we don't get to see it. Like, obviously, I'm at home, right? So I'm just kind of in a bubble. And at the minute, like, I think a lot of people are watching probably in the same situation where they don't actually get to see the behind the scenes and everything like that. So, yeah, man, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, it is awful. I guess I try to be grateful in the sense that I get to work. I still
Yeah.
get to like kind of a normal life, that I get
Yeah.
to help people. But yeah, it's definitely a fully different type of vibe when you go into work now. It's
Oh,
not
hell yeah, yeah. I,
you're
I mean,
not
I was in the supermarket earlier, and there's a weird vibe. Like, people just look at you differently. Like, everyone's terrified, right?
no, it's crazy and I see all these people like civilians with N95 masks on, which are like the masks we should be using. I'm like, where are you guys getting all these masks if the hospitals can't find them?
Yeah.
Where are all
So
these people finding these masks?
yeah, so you're from Canada, right? Ontario. So right.
I'm no, actually a little south. I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Oh right, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
American. Shit.
Oh.
So, because I've looked through you scroll through your Instagram posts, and a lot of your training is in Canada, right?
I've done some training in Canada. I've competed there. We're close, so makes sense to hop up and see everyone once in a while.
Yeah. What was the reason that you started in the first place? Like, right right at the beginning.
So I didn't start out with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I actually grew up in a very, very small town in Pennsylvania. And I mean, like all Amish, all farms. There's like nothing. There's like no Walmart or there's nothing there. And I wanted to start wrestling as like a little girl. My parents were like, absolutely not. You're a girl, you don't
Yeah.
get to wrestle. So I'm
Yeah.
allowed to do that. So then once I had a car, I would drive 45 minutes to another small town that happened to have a sport jujitsu. It was more like a traditional system. So I started there. I did that for like 5 years while I was in college. I ended up going to college there. Um,
And what do you
and
mean by traditional system then?
it wasn't like I mean, it's not like jujitsu, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It's sport jiu-jitsu, but like one word jiu-jitsu, not like two word. It's like we had katas and we had like it was a lot of self-defense stuff, almost like Krav Maga a little bit. A lot of like self-defense stuff. It wasn't a lot of sparring. We had some sparring and it was contact, but nothing compared to again doing BJJ, doing Muay Thai, wrestling classes now. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
But they like to compete. So then when I started competing with them, I just loved it. Like I knew I wanted to keep competing, which was funny because I was so shy. I had such bad stage fright. It was like awful for a while. And eventually I loved it. I ended up going to Australia with them and competing in Australia. And I just wanted to get better. And I knew that I had to kind of move to a bigger city to get better. So I moved to Buffalo.
Oh, no way. That's crazy. What, just purely for wrestling and grappling?
Yeah, so I could do jujitsu.
Oh, shit.
I really love BJJ. That's definitely my main. I mean, I love Muay Thai though too. I love wrestling, but yeah, I really want to do some good Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
It's awesome. Sorry to interrupt, but it's cool to get you on the show because you bring a different perspective. Because a lot of the people I spoke to are black belts. They're kind of experts, and it's kind of I kind of want to get more people like yourself that are really ambitious and to do stuff and they love it. And also to be a girl as well, because you don't really, especially from where I'm from in Lincoln, in England, you don't really hear like girls wanting to wrestle. So it's really awesome to be able to hear your perspective and get some like insight into why you started in the first place.
Yeah, I'm lucky. We have quite a few girls, and we have some phenomenal female wrestlers. Their brother and father, because they're young, but their brother and father run our wrestling classes, and the brother was just in the running for the Olympics wrestling team. I mean, they're really good. So I have these 15-year-old girls that can kick my ass pretty much.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I'm lucky like that I have other females there that can help me out.
When you first started, you got into wrestling and that sort of thing. What was it that drove you into like do Brazilian jiu-jitsu rather than just purely traditional wrestling, as you said?
So when I was doing the sport jiu-jitsu type thing, it's kind of weird. It was 2 2-minute rounds. You wore gloves, almost like MMA gloves. You would wear like shin guards or like feet pads, and you could punch and kick to the head, the body. You could take down and you could submit. So you could either win by like, better takedowns and better striking, or if you submit them, then you can win by submission. So I never won standing up.
No.
No matter how much like kickboxing I trained, I was just not winning standing up. And I armbarred everyone. It was just always arm bars. That's the only thing I could get. So I wanted to get more into grappling because that was the only way I was winning. It was
right. So you found your strength in wrestling, and then you kind of thought, well, this is what I'm good at. This is especially the submissions part of it all, the game. You really want to double down on that.
Yeah. So even when I competed in Australia, everyone was calling me like Ronda Rousey or the armbar queen because it was all arm bars was like how I was winning all my matches.
Yeah.
So I just decided that I really wanted to capitalize on that. I wanted to start, training in jiu-jitsu, and I've just completely fell in love. Like
that's so cool. Yeah. So in Australia, how did you do?
I did okay. I got silver. So
yeah. That's cool. That's good. How many girls were there?
I can't remember altogether. It wasn't like a huge tournament though. I did like the lightest weight class. I had to cut like 20 pounds from where I am now. It was awful.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
I think in my weight class, we only had 4 or 5 girls.
Right.
Altogether. And it was I only fought like a couple different countries too I think just because it was very male dominant. I think I had Great Britain was there, New Zealand, there was Australian girls there. It was a couple years ago now. I did it in 2017. But it wasn't a huge tournament. It was a good opportunity though, and definitely kind of opened up my eyes to competing and that I wanted to be a world champion, but maybe like an IBJJF world champion.
Oh
Because
yeah, that's cool. So you've got you had a few anyway, didn't you? Had a few competitions lined up. Obviously they've been cancelled now. So have you been training for that?
so my poor roommate does not do any martial arts, but I'm lucky because she'll let me rep stuff on her. She'll hold my Thai pads for me. So pretty much I've been trying to keep like a good workout schedule. I'm working out still like 2 to 3 hours every day at home.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's just like a little setup. I'm either running on the elliptical and then I just have like some kettlebells, dumbbells, and resistance bands. And I really make like a full body workout out of those things. And then I'll go on to like, I kind of split up my days to whether I'm going to focus on jujitsu or Muay Thai. So I plan on fighting MMA. It was supposed to be May 9th. I'm going to guess that's getting canceled. But
yeah.
So Muay Thai is kind of my weak point. So I try to make it a point to really, get in my combos and stuff. But I've been doing I was originally just repping with my roommate. So I would just do like a little Muay Thai, a little like clench work takedowns, like clench work and wrestling, and then a little jujitsu on the ground with her. And this poor thing's like flopping like a she has no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, she's shit. Like, I would kick like the pad straight off her hand. She wasn't even holding on to it.
Yeah. Wow, she's on a beast.
She's getting a little bit to it. Now she's doing like some of the Zoom classes with me. My instructors are really awesome from home. They've given us like free classes online too for like Muay Thai, like a Muay Thai living site. So like I have my Muay Thai and my Zoom Jiu-Jitsu classes.
I feel like if you're an instructor, I feel like that's what you should be doubling down on right now. Obviously, there's not a lot you can do, but these Zoom calls, have you found it effective? Just by it's not in the same atmosphere, the same environment, because you're not got people grappling. But have you found it effective to keep doing the drills, on Zoom chats?
I mean, I think so. Even when I don't have my roommate with me to do them, like the one day I was just doing it on a body pillow, and it was just repping like, going from case katami to reverse to side control, like kind of like an around the world type thing where we were repping like rear naked chokes.
Nice.
The body pillow. And like even that, I feel like you're still getting the motion, the muscle memory. And I think it's a cool thing too,
100%.
That you have like a feeling.
By the way, like when you go back to actually doing jiu-jitsu, you'll see that you've still got it instilled in your muscle cells. Where a lot of people, if they haven't done anything, they're going to be vulnerable, because a lot of the time when you're grappling, you'll be able to kind of go back into the rear naked choke, and they've forgotten it.
Yeah, I guess personally I was a little bit hesitant, but I actually really like it. I think too it's like a mood boost, because you feel like you're doing stuff and you really miss it. Yes. And now you get like a little bit of a taste of it. And you're still seeing people, like all your old gym mates, through the camera, and their dogs and their kids running. And I mean, it's kind of like I still think it keeps like our community together. And I personally have enjoyed the classes. I think that they're effective. I mean, I'm sure depending on how the classes run, it could kind of suck, but I think the ones I've personally done have all been really good, really effective.
That's awesome. So in terms of, because obviously a lot of the stuff you do now is grappling based, but you do still do Muay Thai and that sort of thing. So do you think it's important to still have that up your sleeve? If you're focusing purely on jiu-jitsu, would you say that it's important to have different aspects of striking in your game as well?
I think it really depends on your goals and what you want to do. I feel like I have a lot of friends and a lot of people ask me advice on this, and I'm always, because I mean, it's with everything. I mean, even at work, people that know that I train are like, oh, I'm going to get my kids into Taekwondo classes. Like, what do you think? I think it depends on what you want. I mean, do you want to learn how to defend yourself? Are you just doing it for exercise? Are you doing it because you want to fight? Do you want to be a fighter? Because everything really has its purpose. I mean, I did a traditional system for a while that, again, I went in being, 5 years into that, being at the top, like I don't want to say the top necessarily, but like I was teaching classes, I was already competing on their world team and stuff like that. And then I
Yeah.
go to jiu-jitsu and I've been a white belt for like a year and a half after I've
Yeah.
already done that for 5 years, you know? So I think it kind of depends. Like obviously for competing wise, like I kind of had to progress so that I could keep competing. And I think it really depends. Do you want to
Right.
compete?
It depends on your goals, right? So
Yeah.
if for you personally, you want to be a fighter, you want to be a world class fighter. So you need some striking in your game as well. If you're doing MMA especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Awesome. Awesome.
personally, I want to focus on jujitsu, but I want to get some MMA fights under my belt just because
Just
I feel
because,
like
yeah.
even I'm young right now. I don't have brain damage yet. So if I do it
Yeah.
now, I can get a couple in and see how it feels. And then if I just want to stick with, competing wise, doing jujitsu I think I would
Yeah.
always do some striking because
That's
personally, I
interesting.
feel like that as a female wanting to defend myself or be able to, throwing some good elbows and knees is like really important. So
Oh
like
yeah,
I
for
want
sure.
to keep that skill up.
Yeah.
I like the clench work is kind of important
It's
for that
interesting.
aspect of like my training. But
Yes.
really like future wise when I think about it, I want to just focus on jujitsu for like competing.
Right. Yeah. So it's fun. It's the reason I'm asking is because like I'm it's just starting off really. So and January, that's when I first started. So I feel like when I go back to it after coronavirus is over, I'm going to try and get some other classes in as well. So maybe some judo, maybe some other thing, just trying to get some different aspects of different games, just to understand what's just add some different aspect to my game sort of thing really. So do you grapple with like lads?
Yeah, I grapple with everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
cool because I think a lot of girls that would intimidate them.
so we actually have a lot of Muslim girls that go to our gym who don't grapple with any men. So so I think that's part of our good like female like numbers that we have at our gym is that we have a lot of female only type grapplers. But and I can definitely understand. I mean, like for them, it's religious, but I can understand some of our females also just aren't comfortable. They have backgrounds that are, make them uncomfortable in that situation. I think there's so much you can learn from grappling with both men and women because they're so different. They are just so completely different to grapple with. So, I try to really balance it out.
Yeah. So if you could give some advice to a girl that's listening out there, and she's interested in starting jiu-jitsu, what would be the first few things you'd say to them?
I'd
Put you on
say
the spot.
definitely start. It's going to be the best thing you've ever done. You're going to love it. I think part of it is you're going to grow confidence as you do it, but part of it is having that confidence as well to like know what you want, know what you're comfortable with. So again, I've never really had an issue with guys because my first gym was all men for the most part. So like I didn't even have a choice. But if you're not comfortable with men, that's fine. You can start with females. You can always stay with females. It's women do that and become amazing. That's okay. But it's all
Right.
about what you're comfortable with,
100%.
what you
And
want
then
to do.
and also be prepared to travel as well, right? So because
Oh
for
yeah.
example, you're a perfect example of this. You travel to a different country just to just to train, like
Hmm.
and it's changed your life. And I feel like I feel a lot of people, if they just kind of just took that first step, went to that first class, they would be able to kind of go, right, this, well, yeah, I actually enjoy this, or actually I don't enjoy this. Like having that kind of just going to one class and just seeing it from there, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I also think that you should check out several gyms personally.
Right, that's interesting. Why do you think that?
Okay, so I think back to my first system, it would have never been okay for me to train anywhere else. I couldn't have, like being in a more traditional system, I could not have gone to another gym to train. I feel like the jujitsu community, for the most part, is like very open. Your instructors are going to be a lot more understanding and allow you to go. I mean, my instructors do. And it's not like I mean, I love my gym and that's my main place to train, but when I travel, because I do like to travel, I train in Pittsburgh. I do some fight camps in Pittsburgh. I like to train in Ohio. I just trained in Kentucky with Chewy for a little bit before this.
Nice, yeah.
Like, And they're totally okay with that. But I think before you really settle into a gym, you should kind of feel them out, because there are some gyms that are going to be like almost a cult. You can't leave. They make you sign these crazy contracts. Like, I would feel it out before you settle, if you have the option to. Like, there are a lot of gyms in Buffalo. So
Yes.
I have lots to pick from.
That's cool. So you said you went to a few trips. What were they then?
So right before this happened, I want to say it was like March 6th or 7th or something like that, I signed up for the Arnold.
The
And even
Arnold.
though
What?
yeah.
I've not heard of this.
Oh, the Arnold Classic. Okay, so you know Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Okay, so he was a big bodybuilder. So every year they have the Arnold, and it's this humongous expo for like
No way.
bodybuilders, all different types of weight stuff, but they also have fights there. So Grappling Industries puts on a jiu-jitsu competition there, and it's huge. It's like a really big competition to do. And usually when I go and compete, there's like maybe one other female, two other females in my weight division and age group, maybe three if I'm real lucky.
Yeah.
So I signed up for the Arnold with 12 girls in my gi division and 11 in my no gi. So that was like really awesome.
Wow. In one day.
Yeah, all in one day. I started
Nice.
competing at 9 in the morning and did not get done until 5:30 p.m. And I had 12 matches altogether. So it was
Holy shit.
like one after the other, and then maybe I'd
Yeah.
get an hour break, and then it was another match, and then an hour break and another. It was like, oh my God.
That's intense. And
It,
how did you deal with your nerves on the day? Because most people get prepared for one match, and they've been preparing for weeks.
uh, it was it was a long day. It was more than I expected. Yeah, again, usually I go and I compete once or twice, and I have, crazy enough, like I have a lot of stage fright, like a lot of performance anxiety. It's really hard for me, even to do something like this. Is kind of,
Yeah.
I have a lot of nerves, and
Sure.
I was just so nervous, especially about keeping that up all day. And I think, again, one of the beautiful things about jujitsu and, exploring the sport is that I learned how to push myself that day. I mean, it was a long day. I had a lot of fights. And I'll say a lot of mine ended early because I tapped them really fast. But,
Nice.
you know,
The
I can't,
armbar.
if I had to fight like the whole rounds for all of those rounds, that would have been crazy. But, it was, by the end, especially going on to the no-gi division after I just had 6 rounds of gi, and I'm more comfortable in gi. So then going to no-gi was a little scary.
Yeah.
And I mean, my back was like screaming. I was in so much pain. The first match, the girl was really rough with me. I actually had her, she stood up as I had her in an armbar, and she picked me up and smashed my head off the mat. And like, I tapped her quick enough that they couldn't really call it. But then, she was getting like scolded after the match. Then, so like now my head and neck hurt. My back was in so much pain. It was a long day. And I think even all the physical stuff, like mentally, I was just tired. Like to get back out there was a lot.
And how did you deal? Because a lot of aggressive fighters, they do have a different. You need a different technique to deal with them, right? So, did you kind of strategize in your head, right? Well, she's obviously very aggressive. I need to kind of change
Yeah.
my game. Did you think that?
Yeah. So I personally don't think I'm that like aggressive and spazzy. I'm a little more of like I like to kind of flow and do it a little more defensively, I guess. So yeah, for me to fight her, especially being that tired, was a lot of like throwing weight down, trying to like hold her and get her to get all of her spazzing out for a second so I could work something, especially not having any grips. I stupidly wore, this is a really good for anyone actually watching. Don't wear a brand new long sleeve rash guard when you're competing no-gi. It was a bad idea. It was so slippery. So
Right. Okay. Why is that then? For anyone that's looking to buy a don't know which rash guard to buy.
it was brand new and it's long sleeve. And for me to try, I mean, like, I couldn't grip anything. I couldn't like get my arm around her arm, nothing, because she could just slip it right out because it was brand new and just like silky. Because I hadn't used it, I haven't roughed it up yet. So it was So use one of your old ones.
Right. Or just
Or
buy
short-
a short sleeve.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that would be a recommendation I would make after having that.
Yeah. Well,
But
personally, I was going to say I prefer to train in short sleeve anyway. Like just be able to going to get the grips right, as you say. You know, even if you do rough them up a bit, I still feel like you know it's better to have a short sleeve anyway.
yeah, I mean,
That's just my personal preference.
yeah. I thought the rash guard was really cool. My friend just got it for me, and this is what I get.
Nice, nice. So, just going back to what you said before, because I think that could definitely bring a lot of value to people. So you said that you were able to kind of block out your anxiety and also your stresses towards competing. What if you could if you could summarize what you kind of did and what you thought to kind of give someone some advice? What do you reckon that be?
I think the first thing is you just have to do it and keep doing it. Like,
Competing.
and yeah, I mean, or just doing things that are putting yourself in an uncomfortable position. I mean, in a good way. Don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Like a bad.
Yeah.
I just think that obviously doing it over and over again is going to help. I mean, like in the moment, like starting out, I remember my first competitions, and this was like way back when I was like 17 doing this like sport jujitsu, and it was like I was shaking so bad. My hands and feet felt like cement. I was always against girls like way heavier than me because there was never anyone in my weight class. And I lost for a long time. And I feel like you gotta just let it happen. It sucks. No one likes to lose, but we're gonna lose. And I think you just gotta let it happen and learn from it. Unless you're just one of those people that doesn't have that anxiety. But I feel like most competitors do. I think a lot
100%.
of people.
Yeah. So to basically sum it up, just throw yourself in the deep end.
Yeah,
pretty much.
so
Just.
I mean, you can try to breathe. Some people like to read beforehand, get your mind off of it. But yeah, I think the best thing is just getting out there. I think, kind of talking yourself through it and trying to calm yourself down beforehand, maybe a little bit helps. But I think the biggest thing is getting out there and doing it until you start seeing results and you start learning, and then you get better, and then you just keep growing from there. It's like,
I think that's really cool advice, and I think it resonates with. I think it will resonate with a lot of people because it applies to all areas of life, right? So even you coming on this podcast right now, you've proven that you've got yourself out of your comfort zone. You're able to do something that you didn't think was you're able to do. I feel like if a lot of people just did stuff instead of thinking about it, they'll be better off. For sure, doing anything they want to achieve, just got to try and be okay with failure as well, I suppose.
Oh, for sure. I personally feel like I'm a perfectionist, and it's so hard to not be good at something. And I think that was a really, really difficult hurdle to get over in the beginning, was how embarrassed I felt every day I walked in, how it was just I just felt so stupid because I felt like I looked so stupid. And I did, because I was new, and I think part of it was learning that it's so dumb to think that you're going to walk into something and be amazing at it. Obviously BJJ takes like 10 or so years to get your black belt. I mean, that's like a life commitment. I think part of it is kind of like swallowing that and being like, you know what, it's going to take a lot of time. So I have to dedicate this time and do it right. And like, it'll get there. We don't have to all look like black belts when we walk in. We're not going to, but we could someday. And that's what I always remind myself. I'll look at my instructors and I'm like, they're so amazing. Will I ever be there? And then I remind myself I will someday if I train as long as they have, if I put in the work like they do. Yeah, I'm going to get there.
That's pretty much the reason I started as well, because I kind of thought this is probably the hardest martial art in terms of getting through the belts system. If you're prepared to go through failure after failure after failure after failure, I always say like it's actually okay if you don't actually tap anyone out for the first year. Like, that's fine. Like, but imagine how much your mindset will change in everything in your life if you constantly fail. If you literally go to the lesson, don't do anything right, but you're macro like losing, but in the long term, you're actually going to gain a lot, And I also say if I grapple with myself when I first started to when I did now, that's where you see the small losses, and that's where it turns into small wins, right?
Oh, for sure. No, I think that's like a huge, huge lesson I've learned from this, and I continue to learn, is that, you know, failing over and over again sucks, and you learn not to feel bad about it. You learn to like find all that goodness and all that hard work you've put in, and it's in every area of life. I mean, like, if I start to get down about, like, I mean, I'm not in school currently, but like back when I was in school, about I'm not the, I don't have the best grades necessarily, but I worked 3 jobs. I went to Australia and competed, and I went to school, and I still got my nursing degree, and I'm doing well.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it's kind of like, again, instead of trying to make yourself perfect in every aspect, realizing that it's okay to fail, and you're just becoming this better person every day and every time you do it. Every time that something goes bad and it's wrong and it's awful, remind yourself that it's actually going to make you so much better the next time, and then the time after that.
It's funny you said that, actually, because I was the same when I was doing my revision for my exams and everything like that. I felt like everything had to be perfect. It had to be this certain, I had to go to a certain university to be like, all right. Like, if I started jiu-jitsu when I started revising, it would have been so much easier to not put the pressure or, give a shit what people thought, because at the end of the day, I'm going to do my best. And if that's not it, then that's just it.
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool mindset. That's why I want to kind of share it with everyone, kind of give people the exposure to jiu-jitsu. So yeah, that's awesome. What's your goals after coronavirus and everything like that? What do you want to achieve in the next few months?
Well, I guess pretty much my goals right now are just, keeping up with my workouts, hitting my workouts hard every day. I definitely put a big focus on cardio because, again, hopefully, like, immediately, like, whenever this is over, as soon as possible, I'll be fighting MMA. So
Nice.
really, like, hitting the cardio, doing like hard road work. So lots of cardio. I'm hitting strength training more now too, because I just have the time to do it, where before, I mean, my schedule was pretty wild before this all started. I work every weekend, actually, as a nurse. I'm a weekend only. So I do Saturday, Sunday at work, then Monday through Friday. I mean, every day it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours at the regular gym, just cardio and lifting. Then
Whoa.
I'm going to my jujitsu school, and I'm doing, 2-hour classes, and then I'm doing an hour Muay Thai class, and then I'm doing an hour wrestling class. And I mean, every day was like 5-6 hours a day of just gym time.
Which is
So
literally Monday to Friday. So probably
yeah,
about 25 hours of jiu-jitsu and fitness in the
yeah.
week.
So I'm trying to take it seriously. I want to fight. I want to do well. I guess it's kind of that perfectionist in me. So I'm pushing myself hard. I'm hitting my workouts, trying to maintain a good weight, get my cardio up. At the same time, I'm obviously going to be working. I was hitting a lot of no-gi because MMA. So doing a lot of no-gi, a lot of Muay Thai, and trying to rev up on the wrestling classes.
Yeah.
So
So
now,
how many for you then? How many days do you do jiu-jitsu, and how many days do you do other things?
so I really try to do them all every day.
Wow.
Like, so that's why I'm there so long. But, some days it doesn't work out like that as much. I might only end up doing 3 or 4 days of each. I'll say wrestling is what I do the least, because of the time slots and how it works out. Like Sunday is our big wrestling class. I work every Sunday, so I obviously can't make that one. But Monday night we have a really good wrestling class. So like I can go work out for 2 hours, then I can hit women's jujitsu at 5:30, wrestling at 6:30, Muay Thai at 7:30, and like,
Nice.
have my 3 hours at, there after I just did 2 hours at. So, I make them long days.
You have to make it a lifestyle, I find. Because
I mean,
as you say, it goes back to what you said about people and their goals and stuff. But if you want to take it seriously, you have to do it every day. No, not like every day, but like a large percentage of your week.
Right? Yeah, and I think it's your goals that we have so many people that go there that are more like hobbyists, and
yeah,
they're still amazing, and there's still so much to learn from them. And they build your awesome community. And obviously, not everyone's going to be a huge competitor and world champion, but every person I train with helps me get there. So I think it's, all about your goals.
All about your goals, right? And you've got to be self-aware of what you want to actually achieve, right?
Yeah, I think it's really important to self-reflect and think about, like, I think, again, and I think it helps bring their pressure off you. Like, again, going back to nursing school, I want to be a nurse, but do I have to be, the top of my class? No, because I really wanted to invest in martial arts, and I worked, and I still did well, but I kind of balanced it out. Like, do I have to have that? No, but what I really want is to keep working and pursuing my martial arts. So I balanced it.
Nice. That's really cool. Do you do any like reading or anything like that off the mats that kind of helps you on the mat, if that makes sense?
I guess a lot of my like off the mat training, if you'd want to call it that, is a lot of like instructional videos. Like I have some accounts, that you can like pay for the videos and stuff. Like I just bought like one of the Tom DeBlas systems that are kind of helping me with like my game. I'm trying to advance my game because I like to fall to my back. I think because I'm small, and not to say I'm like super small, but compared to a lot of the men that go there, I'm not like a huge woman. So, I like to fall to my back because I can't stay on top of them. And I'm trying to work on not doing that, especially if I want to go fight MMA. I should probably stop falling to my back.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, listen, it's been absolutely brilliant to talk to you. If anyone wants to get in touch with yourself, what's the best method of contacting yourself?
To me, you can always go to my Instagram. It's public, so it's just Bryana Baer BJJ. It's a really weird spelling. And then, yeah, I think that would probably be the best way. I mean, I have email too, which is just BryanaBaer@gmail.com, but.
Awesome. Well, I'll leave all the details in the description, and if someone wants to get in touch with yourself, they can do. But yeah, it's been really good to talk to you, and thank you very much.
No, it's been amazing. Thank you.
There you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. My name is Joe Martin, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.